So, whew. Yeah. But anyway, thank you for all being here. We're going to start the service with a song called This Is the Day, and if you would please rise and join in with singing and bringing in the Spirit. Appreciate it.
This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. Sing that with us. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. This is a day to be seized, yeah. A day I can feel my spirit set free. Yes, this is the day. It's time to fly higher and higher up in the sky. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. This is the day all my dreams come true. Feel the Spirit working its way through. Yes, this is the day. It's time to fly higher and higher up in the sky. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it.
Good morning. Welcome to West Valley Center for Spiritual Living. My name is Reverend Clyde Goins. I'm the assistant minister here, and I welcome you here on this beautiful Sunday morning. I have to tell you guys, I've been really praying for rain. We've been teased by the clouds. I've done some yard work in the backyard. I put in some French drains, and I want to see if they work. Right? So I'm like, come on, rain. I want to see what happens. So, so pray with me for rain. We need some rain so I can see if they work right. All right. So we come together every Sunday to remember our truth that we're whole, perfect, and complete just the way we are. So recognizing this truth, we just live our lives fully. So our theme this year is Change Your World. And so we are moving through the middle of June, almost to the end. And so the question is, are you happy with your life? Are you making changes in your life? Are you creating something new, right? Whatever it might be, we are all here together to support one another on this beautiful journey called life. So please share with us. You can pray with a practitioner if you need prayer, but we are here to support each other. So our announcements this week, we have two exciting announcements, really. One is we're going to start Science of Mind Prayer Treatment class today, right after service. You're going to go over, have some snacks, and then come back over. And then Reverend Karen, we're going to, depending on how many people show up, they're going to meet in here, or we're going to meet in Reverend Karen's office. It's for the next 4 weeks. It'll be about an hour and a half long to go through each step. And so it'll be an incredible process of really centering yourself and really understanding the way that we pray. And I love the way that we pray. We don't ask for anything from God. We just remember the truth. And then starting next Tuesday from 1:30 to 3:30, if you're interested in becoming a practitioner, a licensed practitioner here in the community, then Reverend Karen is going to also be hosting a introductory 3-week discussion group the next 3 weeks on Tuesday, 1:30 to 3:30, and it's really about what is a practitioner, what's the role, what's the responsibilities, and then also the requirements to become a licensed practitioner. So that'll start next Tuesday at 1:30. This coming Tuesday, day after tomorrow. All right, so that's all of our announcements. So everything is available on our website, wvcsl.com. So you can go to that website and see the calendar with all of the updates. And then we also have a newsletter that we send out. So if you're not receiving the newsletter in the bookstore, we have little pieces of paper that you can fill out, and you can drop it in the tithe boxes, and then we can add you to our distribution list so you can keep up to date with all the great things we have going on. So, all right, so now let's say our vision statement together. We are a loving, joy-filled community honoring the many paths to God as we learn and live the science of mind principles, and so it is. So now just allow yourself to sit back, relax, feel the comfort of this chair, the loving comfort of this community. Open your arms, your hearts and minds for the Bradford's beautiful music and Reverend Karen's wonderful message. Thank you.
So just take a deep breath as we move within.
I will make a quiet place within my heart. I will wait upon the Lord. Wait upon the Lord.
Be still, my soul, be still. Be still, my soul, be still. Be still and know.
Make a quiet place within my mind. I will wait upon the Lord. Wait upon the Lord.
Be still, my soul, be still. Be still, my soul, be still. Be still and know I will make a quiet place within my life, and I will wait upon the Lord. Wait upon the Lord. I will make a quiet place.
Right here and now, there is a still small voice speaking to each and every one of us. As I know that God is joy, God is peace, God is love, God is fun and laughter, God is wisdom, intelligence, and all-knowing. And God is vibrating at an energy within each and every one of us that moves us through each and every moment of our day. And as I know all of this is God. I know that I am one with God right here and now. God's presence is expressing before you as we hope in our hearts and our minds to the message God speaks through Reverend Karen today. And we listen to the beautiful music the Bradsfords make for us that bring us to a deeper state of love and understanding. I open my heart and my mind, knowing I am one with that divine life, and I carry that in me, as me, and through me at all times. God is operating with complete joy in my life. I just need to wake up and become aware. And right here and now, I am greatly aware of God's presence in my life and yours. As I continue to open my heart and my mind, there is great gratitude in my heart that my life is unfolding in the highest and greatest good, because God and good are pretty much interchangeable in my world. And with that knowingness and that gratitude, I release my word into the universal law, knowing it is done unto thee as I believe. And I believe right here and now. And together we say, and so it is. Good morning. I have a very wonderful reading for today's topic, and I invite you to sit back and just let God flow through my words into your heart and mind. I'm in the Science of Mind textbook under the chapter, The Thing Itself. Learning to trust will make us happy. Page 32. There is a power in the universe that honors our faith in it. Intuitively, we sense that every man, in his native state, is some part or manifestation of this eternal principle, and that the entire program or problem of limitation, evil, suffering, and uncertainty, they are not God ordained, but is the result of ignorance. Through experience, man learns what is really good and satisfying, that is truly worthwhile. As he learns the truth will automatically free him. When we learn to trust the universe, we are happy, prosperous, and well. No matter what our emotional storm or what our objective situation may be, there is always something hidden in the innermost being that has never been violated. We may stumble, but always there is an eternal voice forever whispering in our inner ear. God is always God, no matter what. Please take a moment to think about that as your day unfolds. And so it is.
Here's a song written by John Hoy, and Karen Drucker sings it on a lot of her albums, Happy, Healthy, Wealthy, and Wise. I am happy, healthy, wealthy, and wise. Happy, healthy, wealthy, and wise. And I know the light of love is shining in my eyes. I am happy, healthy, wealthy, and wise. Okay, sing that with me. Are you ready? I am happy, healthy, wealthy, and wise. Happy, healthy, wealthy, and wise. And I know the is so sweet as I listen to her song. I know I am complete. I have all the keys to love, joy, and peace. My power is infinite, and love will increase. I am happy, healthy, wealthy, and wise. Happy, healthy, wealthy, and wise. And I know the light of love is shining in my eyes. I am happy, healthy, wealthy, and wise. I am happy, healthy, wealthy, and healthy, and wise.
Oh, that was fun. You did a good twist on that. I like that very much. Good morning. Welcome to the West Valley Center for Spiritual Living. I'm Reverend Karen, and I'm just going to say this. I don't think he likes the name change. Oh, that's adorable. So we are here in the West Valley to talk about some things today, and I have prepared a message that is really the basics of prayer. So last week I gave a message on prayer, on affirmative prayer, but today I'm giving the meat because I'm starting the class when this service is over. So we're going to have a 4-week class. If you're interested, you don't have to be registered for that. It's not too late to start. We'll just see how many people are here, and we'll either meet in my office or out here, but we're going to learn some stuff about prayer, and this message could be a real eye-opener for you. I've tried to write it in a really basic way that will refresh your mind if you already know stuff, and if you don't know it, it'll be a really good first exposure to it. There are ways that we pray, and first of all, I always like to say, please just pray from your heart the way you pray. Don't feel like we're trying to teach you some special, we call it spiritual mind treatment, and it's got 5 steps and you got to do them in a proper order. It's not like that. It's that there are 5 steps to treatment, and they are very effective when you understand what each step is. So there's a part of the prayer where you start and you just try to recognize the presence of God. That was beautifully done in the invocation that Reverend Susan just gave. Then there's a place where we unify, and there are all kinds of different ways of recognizing that there is only one. This is how Ernest Holmes would say it. There's only one mind. It is the mind of God, and that mind is my mind now. And woof, he would be unified. That doesn't help. I don't like that one. I have to use words that are more personal to me, and that's what I want to teach you: how to understand the mechanics of the steps to prayer, how to use it, and not just try and memorize the steps or do it in a proper order. It's about learning to open our heart and to understand that there is indeed a power and a presence that is greater than we are. It is a power for good, and we can use it. And so, I have an idea I want to talk to you about. We're going to put it right back there on that wall, because that, to me, is the bottom line. One thing that helps me get grounded again is just to remember that again and again and again. There's a power, a presence. There's this essence that we say God is love, and it is with me all the time. It is never separated from me. And yes, it's there and it's here, but it's everywhere. And it's everywhere, present all the time. And it's sort of a universal thing for how many spiritual philosophies define what God is. So here we invite you to jump out of that box and to stretch it to just every week. Imagine you just make your image of God in your own relationship with Spirit. You make it you fine tune it a little bit more, so that consciousness is constantly stretching, changing, growing, and that we can then live these beautiful lives, because I just had 2 days away and I had a lot of fun. And what I'm going to tell you is, did you just try and mute me, girl, so I wouldn't tell what happened there? Because I know we're not supposed to say what happens in that city. It's supposed to leave it there. Everybody left it there, right? If you were there, you left it there. Okay, good. We can move on.
And so I'm uplifted because what happened for me in the last 2 days is that I revisited my relationship with life, because life is meant to be lived. And some of us, and I would be one of those, I can really take it too serious. So it was really lovely to sort of forget about all the seriousness, have a blast, finish writing the talk on the road on the way back, and then have this prepared to speak today and to teach this class after we're done. So the title of my message is such a good title: Yours to Use. Yours to use. And we're talking about that power source that is always available to us. We're talking about that energetic idea of spirit beyond being an entity that looks like us. That which created all of life, and that it's an energetic that continues to fuel and source us. So when we think of God as a power source that is ever available, what we're remembering is that it's just like the way I plugged into electricity to make coffee this morning. Right? There's a power source, and my coffee pot needed that in order to make me happy to have my coffee. And in the same way that your automobile requires gasoline, unless you're Robert. Where did Robert go? Oh, there you are. See, when you sit in a different place, it confuses the minister. Robert does not need gasoline for his car because he has an electric car that he really, 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 really loves. He would love to talk to you about it. Do you have it in the parking lot where we could look at it too? Okay, so there's that. So you need a power source, no matter what. I love that my sidewalk has those little solar lights on both sides of it when you walk in, and when you walk down the sidewalk, and the sunshine fuels the little batteries so that at nighttime we have a beautifully lit sidewalk. So there's a power source for everything. But I want you to begin today to think of that power source in terms of the power in the presence that's greater than we are, a power for good, and we can use it. I want you to think of it as a divine healing power that's always at the core of your being. So, if we need proof, we can look to see that the nature has it figured out. That if we see wildflowers in the very late winter or early spring here in the desert, when the wildflowers start to bloom and nobody can really figure, did somebody plant those, or is that just life? Is that what happens? And those wildflowers will bloom, and then they go to seed. We call it going to seed. And then the wind comes and it spreads that seed, and then the next season, when it's time for those flowers to come up and present themselves again, they'll be in other places because nature has moved them around, but they have been planted again. And that's what life reminds us, that it's just about us to keep planting seeds of possibility. It's the way a farmer who harvests a healthy crop will take some of that, some of the produce that comes from the garden on the farm, and some of that will go in the kitchen and will be used as food to feed the family. Some of it might go to the end of the driveway and in a little vegetable stand where neighbors can drop by and leave coins or exchange money or goods to have some of that fresh produce. And some of it might even be sold at market as like a big farm. But the farmer always, when the farmer is dividing up those things, the farmer saves a portion of the harvest so that there's a seeding possibility for the next crop when the time comes later to do it again. So there is this process of life that I like to think of it as the parallel for me is that this is, if we think of that image, we can realize that in this deep, spiritual, beautiful way, this is the way God's grace flows and streams everywhere all the time. You don't earn grace. Grace is God-given, and it's always flowing freely. So the quote that I found, where I got the title Yours to Use, comes from Dr. Ernest Holmes, the founder of this spiritual teaching. And he said these words: life may have given everything to you, but only that which you accept is yours to use. And that's why we come back here on Sunday mornings, and why we take classes, and why we read wonderful spiritual books, and we share book titles, and we have discussion groups, because we're always looking for ways to expand our ability to accept these universal truths, because they're hard to identify. You can only see the effects of them. So we are looking in this topic of prayer, or spiritual mind treatment, as we have called it. I abbreviate that SMT. So just know that if you see SMT, we're talking about prayer, and it's affirmative. We do it in a positive way. So in this teaching that we call the science of mind, we are looking at a teaching that is transformational. It is very educational based. It's all about learning. And it is indeed a spiritual philosophy. And in addition to that, it is our faith. It is a way of life. It's not just something we do on Sundays or when we're taking a class. It's a way to study how life works in the world, and then how do we take that understanding of the creative process of all of life and apply it in our own living. This year in our center, the West Valley Spiritual Center, West Valley Center for Spiritual Living. That's a mouthful. You guys really should have picked a shorter name. I'm just saying. If I had been here, we'd have a shorter name. It would still be Center for Spiritual Living. In this community, our theme for 2024 is Change Your World. It's not change the world. It's about looking at your own life and changing your world, so that then ripples out and becomes a part of a much bigger change, and a evolutionary change of what's emerging on the planet at this time. Because you know what? The planet is always redoing herself. She's always changing, shifting, moving. I lived in California. I know a lot about shifting and changing Earth movement. So the thing is, this is a relevant topic, change your world, because everything that life throws at us could, if you choose, it's yours to decide here. If you choose, anything that comes your way in terms of problems or situations or encounters, it can be fodder that you can use to change your world. So something that feels difficult, challenging, or is just flat out problematic for you, can be a good way you can learn to practice using these skills and these tools, and how to pray in a way that isn't begging God to fix your problem. We don't plead with God here. We desire to have an emotional connection, a feeling of oneness, a sense of union with the divine, but we don't need to grovel, right? So often in life, we get these, it's interesting that we'll go through a hard time, and it's, even though we don't really maybe think about what it means, but we'll go, it's just a trial, God's testing me, or God threw this at me because. But what if we could reimagine that what's happening in the world? The world has always got some edges in it. Life is always changing. Look at the rocks on the shore of the beach that get smoothed out and they look all polished just because of the friction of the movement. It's the friction that creates the beauty. The same with the pearl. I bet you just said that a couple weeks ago when I wasn't here. The pearl is an irritation that turns into something beautiful. And becomes valuable to us. So can we rethink, can we use some of these ideas, because they're yours to use should you choose, that we can use our lessons and see that there are all sorts of ways that life doesn't package your lessons. You package how you interpret the things that you go through. We are always writing our own story, and so we have an option to amend it as it's moving along. If we don't like how it's going, we can change it, and that's what we're looking at today. That's my primary message. That I have some good examples. So lessons come in all sorts of packages, and what I just notice in my own life is that problems are often opportunities, but I don't necessarily like them, right? Sometimes we don't welcome them. It always reminds me of that fabulous Khalil Gibran quote, perhaps my favorite Gibran quote. He said, "I have learned silence from the talkative, toleration from the intolerant, and I have learned kindness from the unkind. And yet it's strange, but I am ungrateful to all those teachers." Right? So yeah, we don't necessarily like it, and sometimes we can shin up because we'll blame it on God. Well, God must have given me this lesson for a reason. Well, the reason will be revealed to you if you are willing to use it to deepen your own spiritual understanding of how life works. So things happen, life changes. We all experience loss and grief and financial shifts and maybe a sense of limitation around our relationships or our money. We have illnesses, or we worry about those we love who experience it. All of that happens in this time period that we're here having this human experience. So we learn, it's helpful to learn, experiences come and go, and they are yours to use, or you can decide not to use them, right? We don't have to figure everything out and all at one time. You don't have to work on every single thing that crosses your path, but you can choose where would you like your life to go a little smoother. So I had an example that happened to me a couple weeks ago, 3 weeks maybe. I was abruptly living alone. It was weird. And the hardest thing was to figure out how to feed myself dinner. So thanks to Reverend Clyde, and I know you've probably heard parts of this stories. If you traveled with me the last couple of days, you heard the whole story. Sorry. See if I tell it different this time. So Reverend Clyde recommended I check out online, look for a food service where they just send you the thing. And I still want to cook in my kitchen, but I want to eat good food, and I want to, and I want it to be fun and enjoyable. And so I signed up for a service, and I get 3 meals a week, and I've been doing it I've probably done it about 150 times because I've been doing it for close to 2 years now. And I love it. It brings me so much pleasure. I get online, I look at their website, and the pictures are just beautiful, and it's yummy food. Most of it's organic and it's proportioned, so I hardly ever overeat unless it's dessert that I'm adding, then I might. And the recipes are even the ingredients are like, what? I would never put dates in rice. And the seasonings come in little packets, so I don't have to shop for all that stuff. And I throw it together, and yes, it's time consuming and it's messy, and I just love it because it satisfies my creative enjoyment of cooking, of being in my kitchen and creating something wonderful. So I do that every Monday. I select my menus. So you select about a month out. So this one particular Monday, I get on the website, and they offer me, every time they pick 3 meals for you. I never want what they tell me I should eat, So I don't think they have a very good algorithm, or I'm just rebellious and they show it and I go, no, I want to pick my own, which is possible. And I then go and I click on the edit button after I see the 3 they offer me, and there's about 30 more choices with gorgeous pictures, and they have the best writer that writes these wonderful descriptions of what the food is like and why you're going to like it. And so I just look forward to doing this every Monday. I get up and I do my spiritual practice, and then I do my chores, house cleaning, because Monday's my day off, so I get my house done, and then I can't wait till kind of mid-afternoon, and I go in and I fire up my computer and I click on my link to their website, And now I see, okay, so those are beautiful. I'm gonna edit, but my edit button wouldn't work. I'd click on it and it would look like it was going to go, and then it would come back up into the same place. It was so frustrating. And I got a little upset, so I played with it and I went, okay, you know what? I'm going to go away from it. I'll come back in a couple hours and try it again. Shut the computer down, restarted the computer. Aren't you proud of me, Kendra? I knew you would be proud of me for doing that. I mean, when you got to troubleshoot your own. I was married to a man like Rod who knew all that stuff. I never had to think about it. But anyhow, I go back in a couple hours, shut it, turn it on, and it still won't let me get past the edit. It will not let me in there to see all the pretty individual things. So I did a good thing. Follow along, Kendra. You'll like this. I read the FAQs. Frequently asked questions, right? So I'm going to try and troubleshoot it myself, and nobody got even close to my problem. So then I saw that they had a live chat, so now I connect to the live chat. Do you love to live chat? No. Nobody wants to really do that. Is it a human? And that is so weird. But anyhow, I live chat. Person assures me, I'm just looking at the menu too soon. I need to wait 1 week. And I'm going, I don't think so. But I did. I waited a week and I went back a week later, and now I have 2 weeks to choose from and the calendar's moving closer to delivery day and I can't get in. It still won't, the edit button is still not working. So now I go, oh, doggone it. This requires a phone call, and that's even worse than live chat. So I call and I talk to a very nice lady. She talks me through a bunch of stuff. She says, no, we don't have any complaints. This is a unique problem to you. Wait a few more days, and now I'm just mad. So I hung up, and then I called back, and I got somebody else to talk to. And she goes, can I help you? How can I help you? And she's got my record already on the screen. She's already looked me up based on my phone number. She says, oh, you're a long-time customer. Yes. Oh, you have ordered this many meals. And yes, I have. And she goes, well, how can I help you? And I said, oh my God, I hope so. This is really important to me. I need to be able to look at the Green Chef, the pretty pictures, and I need to get the food, but I can't get the edit. And so she stays on the phone with me for a really long time. And finally, she says, I'm going to have to go talk to my IT person. Can you hold? And I went, yes, I will hold. You'll be worth it. So she comes back after a long time. She comes back and she says, okay, we've got it all figured out. You can either download the app on your phone. And I went, no, I don't do that. And she goes, okay. Or just go into on your computer and clear your cache. And I'm like, what the heck is a cache? What does that mean? I don't know how to, I don't have a rod in my house anymore. I don't know how to do that. And now I'm getting a little annoyed, and I went, and I think I actually started crying right then. I definitely cried. I started crying, and I'm like, look, I just want my Green Chef. I just want my Green Chef, and you've got to help me. She goes, well, you clean out the cache. And I went, no, I need you to help me. So now she's crying, and I'm crying, and so she goes back, she puts me on hold, and she comes back and says, Miss Karen, she's very calm. They must have trained her well. Miss Karen, we're going to have to work on your issue, and we're going to call you back tomorrow at exactly this time. Is that okay? Will that work for you? Yes, that will work. I'll wait till tomorrow. Okay, that'll work. And so she gets off. I get off the phone and I go to bed, and I wake up the next day. Do my normal thing. I affirm that it's going to be a great day before I let my feet hit the ground next to the bed. I go out, I make my coffee, I get in my chair, I do my reading, and then I do my spiritual mind treatment. I get all prayed up, and I do my meditation, and then I get up to sort of start my day, move around, move about my life. And I remember the problem with my food order. But I'm prayed up, and I'm calm, and I rethink the whole thing. I'm thinking about like the whole conversation, and at this point, if you weren't prayed up and you began to think about it, you would get angry again. It would be tempting to just get fueled up because you already know what pushes your triggers. We all do, whether you realize you do or not. We can help you with that. We have classes for that, if you should be interested. But it occurred to me that everything is just different when I'm prayed up, and that I had I had been fixated on the problem. What do we say here? If you just keep trying to fix the problem, you're going to not ever get to the solution. And when I am prayed up, and the same is true of you, life looks different. So now, what I know is, wait a minute, there is a spiritual solution to every problem, even this. And I would say to you, that's really good advice, whatever you're going through. And if you can think of that, there's a spiritual solution to every problem, even this, because sometimes this doesn't feel like it fits in. And when you know that, then the next natural thought is, and that solution always starts with me. So I had this idea that I should just Google, what does it mean to clear, I had written it down, clear your cache, and I Googled it and it really wasn't, how many of you know how to clean your cache? Raise your hand if you know how to clean your cache. Okay, well, I'm so happy not all of you do. That makes me feel a little better. So I did all that, and then I went to go to the website and I got right in. In terms of living, here's my thought. In terms of living my best life, I had to change something in my own mind before I could change my world. Do you see how that works? I know that this might not be an issue for the relatable because it's a unique, but it's a universal story. In order to change anything, you have to start with yourself. Something in your own mind has to shift and change. And so what I realized, the lesson then, as I tried to process all that, was that what I had to change was the belief that there was something that could stand between me and the good that I desired to have. It's only a belief. This is why Dr. Holmes says you have to look the discordant fact in the face. You can't just push your problems in the sand and bury them. They don't go away. Here's a fabulous quote, and this is the main thing I wanted to say today. There's this quote from Dr. Ernest Holmes that comes from that book where his last lectures at Asilomar at the very end of his life, and he said this in it to an audience. We reenact what we know until we change our mind. We reenact what we know until we change our mind. And so, you know, what that means is you have a way you react to stuff, and I have a way I react to stuff. And when we get to recognize that it doesn't have to be that way, the problem is we get comfortable with the way we show up, and then we don't even know that we're doing things we could be doing differently. Then he goes on to say, even history is a living, pulsating thing. And until it's changed by reversing the action of the time track, it'll still be the same. So if we look at history, if we look at the changes going on the planet right now, and it feels like it's heading in a certain direction, realize that we have the capability of reversing that time track. We just make new decisions, and then we're going to see that there's opportunity for different outcomes as well, because that's how things work. And listen to this sentence. Holmes says, every time you give a spiritual mind treatment, every time you pray in that affirmative way, this is what you are doing. You are reversing a time track. Every time you say, it doesn't have to be this way. For me, that starts with, why is all this happening? And then I catch that, well, that's a silly question. You know, how would you like to change this? So every time you have that little nudge that says to you, it doesn't have to be this way. And see, that's something that we teach practitioners in prac training by right of consciousness. This can turn around. Doesn't matter what the diagnosis is. It doesn't matter what your financial situation is. It doesn't matter what shenanigans trouble you got into in your past. Today is a brand new day. And every time you pray about it, every time you say it doesn't have to be that way, you interrupt the cycle. He says you intercept, you short circuit a time track, and you initiate a new chain of causation. You plant a new cause, a new first cause. You get rid of that old belief and you initiate a new chain of causation, and thereby you create new time and new experience. I can just feel that moving. This is big stuff. So, I love that line where he said, this is what you and I do every time we give a treatment. It doesn't mean that you have to take the class. It doesn't mean you have to understand the 5 steps, but it does mean that we have to learn how to embody the way we change the thinking in our own mind. I had to go to bed and sort of sleep on it and wake up fresh and not think about that. I don't check the news. I don't check my phone. I don't do anything till I am prayed up. Then you can see things differently once you have grounded yourself in truth again. So I totally understand what it means to say that we are bound by nothing except our belief, right? My belief, on a superficial level, was the problem. I can't clean the cash. Somebody else has to help me. And in that moment, it was like I was just overwhelmed with that feeling. And notice that that's helplessness. And there's always help. There are plenty of solutions. That was not a major problem, and that's why I use that as the example, because it's a minor problem. But we are bound by nothing except what we believe around it. And when I really analyzed it as I began to write this talk, I realized that what I was bound by was my belief in the most general, basic way that I had a belief that something could stand between me and my good. And Emma Curtis Hopkins, God bless this beautiful Christian mystic of long ago, said, there is a good for me and I ought to have it. And as much as I want my good wants me. So we look at the discordance. At any time, what we're saying this morning, at any time we can reverse a direction. Holmes said we may change the trend of causation which has been set in motion at any time that we decide to do that. So today, I invite you to decide, to examine not the big things, but just a couple things. The reason we call it science of mind is so we can look at the scientific side of why prayer works. And when we can begin with recognizing there's a power and a presence that's greater than me, I don't have to figure it all out in this moment, but I also do not have it's not in my integrity to wallow in the problem and feel like I'm never going to have my food service again. Can you see what a funny stretch that was? So it's ridiculous. I could call many friends right here who would have solved it for me easily. So I want you to ask yourself, what does that mean? This gorgeous talk title, it's yours to use. What does that mean to you? What is mine, we should be asking ourselves. And then how do we use it? And that's what the prayer class is for, so we can talk about the details of using it. How do we practice affirmative treatment or prayer? We call it science of mind treatment because we are treating our minds in a very specific way, in a very powerful way. We're learning how to change our mind. And that's how we use the law. We change our minds and then we change our world. Through the use of prayer, we reverse time, we unchain circumstances, and we claim and redirect the way our life is moving forward. Holmes used to say, all mental congestion is healed when we let go and we let God. And so that's, I don't know about you, but did you see how much trouble I got into trying to figure it out all on my own in a way that was foreign to me? And there were other options as to how I could have solved that problem. And it became a good lesson. See, I didn't do anything wrong. It was probably just what I needed to do in order to have a deeper and fuller experience. The way to begin is always to start right where you are. Recognize that power. Remember, it is a power for good. You know, God's love and that divine goodness is greater than any seeming opposite force in the universe. So there's a power for good. There is a dynamic force in this universe that is for you. It is an indwelling presence, and it is also everywhere present, and it's in every one of us. Think of it as a healing presence, and it will change your life. The living Spirit within you, and you can use it. It's yours to use, and that's what needed to be said today. Take a deep breath. And as you exhale, just let all the busy words fall all around you. And very gently, we turn within. And we begin to sense that presence and power. How good it is to know that there is simply no place where God is not. And so I know that no matter where you are as you were hearing these words, that right there in the middle of it is the fullness of Spirit itself. The living Spirit Almighty. Just feel the love of God within you. Because that is an activity of life. It is the force of all creation, and it knows how to heal what ails us. Because in the spiritual terminology, there is nothing to be healed, only truth to be revealed. So as there may appear to be things in our lives or in our bodies that are out of order and are presenting with a diagnosis or a discomfort, we use these words right now, these powerful words of prayer, to feel that reversing of the chain of time itself, so that we are reordered from the inside out. We are reinvigorated with a life of truth and love. The Spirit of God is that which does the healing, that which does the revealing. And it ripples out in every direction so that it impacts the people that we love, those loved ones and dear friends that we have concerns about. And we realize yet again, it's not up to us to fix anything. We serve life because it's holy, not because it's broken. So there is hope for this world. There is hope for all of the little things that seem to be problematic in our lives. We can realign everything, all of our situations, simply by taking a moment to breathe and recognize that power and that presence. It's right where we are. So even now, things are coming into a better order. Life at a higher level is revealing itself, for we have reversed a chain of causation, and we are now directing it to be apparent in our living, so that we might live our lives fully, so that we might love each other boldly, so that we might take the words of a very wise man who once said, "Tell them to love each other effusively." I feel that love. I know it is in this room. I know it is in this space where these words are being heard. And I know that it is a great sense of holiness that we create in our togetherness. For we empower each other with these positive words. We create a change in the vibration on this planet. And therefore, greater and greater good is revealed because we have cleared our visions. We have changed our minds. We stand in deep and beautiful expectation that this is the day the Lord has made. So we say thank you. Thank you, God. Thank you, life. Thank you, Spirit Almighty. We receive this good. We open to the grace and we feel it streaming to us even now. And we can be so happy that we are a part of this reorganization that is happening on the planet, where the consciousness of humanity is rising to greater heights. And we can stand firm in our own way and use these principles. So I feel that great love in my heart, that great gratitude. And with deep thanks, I simply release the words of this prayer into the law, knowing it is done. And together we say, and so it is.
Grateful for all the love that I have. I am so grateful. Grateful for all the love that I have. Everywhere I look and every face I see is love reflected, shining back to me. I just give thanks for all these simple things, the joy and peace that gratitude brings. That's why I'm grateful for all the love that I have. I am so grateful for all the love that I have.
Thank you, Bradfords. So I just have to tell you guys, I am also grateful that Reverend Karen figured out that green chef, because that was kind of scary for me. In more ways than one, I'll just say that. All right, and since we're talking about food, I just wanted to remind everybody, I almost forgot, but I want to remind everybody that next Sunday is our 5th Sunday, so we're doing a potluck. So if you'd like to bring some food, some wonderful food to share for the potluck, I know that Julie's already thinking about what she's going to bake for the group, so we're all excited about that. So again, so the 5th Sunday is always our potluck Sunday for people to bring food and share food, so please join us. So now's the time to celebrate the abundance of our lives and the abundance of our community. So let's say our giving affirmation together. I live in a consciousness of good. Divine love blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God, and so it is.
Please rise for our last song. Oh, it feels so good to be alive. Sing that with me. Oh, it feels so good to be alive. I ain't thinking about my problems. I'm living now. I'm living now. And I ain't gonna worry about the future. I'm living now. I'm living now. So put your hands up if you feel like having a good time. Put your hands up if you're sharing love with all. Raise your cup if you're hopeful for tomorrow. Put your hands up alive. One more time. Oh, 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 it feels so good to be alive. Woo!
Yes, it does. It feels great to be alive. So let's say our closing affirmation together. Repeat after me. I know I am an expression of life. And I use this intelligent, creative energy to create my life. And so it is.